Man, just look at how beautiful it is today over here in Florida. Over here in Central Florida, it's like 80 degrees. There's a nice breeze. It's just so beautiful out here walking by the water. But what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today's video is actually inspired by one of you guys, someone that left a comment on one of my previous videos. They asked about virtual queues and boarding passes at the theme parks. And in this video, I'm just gonna break it down. I'm gonna break down what the virtual queue, what the boarding pass is, and I'm gonna tell you my thoughts on it. Because honestly, this might be a big part of the way we experience the theme parks in the near future. So let me start off by saying that if you have been to Disneyland, or if you were at Walt Disney World when there was the old fast pass system where you had to go to the attraction and put in your ticket, get the little paper fast pass that told you what time to come back, that's kind of how the virtual queue works. It's just a little bit different. So the big difference would be that with the fast pass, there was still the regular standby line that you had the option to wait in. And then when you got your return time, you basically go fast pass line, skip that big line. But the virtual queue, there's basically only one line, so everyone comes back at their certain time. And actually, my first time experiencing a virtual queue was at Universal Studios, where they have the virtual queue for Fast and Furious Supercharged and for Jimmy Fallon Race Through New York. And so all that you gotta do is you just gotta get on the Universal app, go to the virtual queue, select the attraction that you want to do, either Fast and Furious or the Jimmy Fallon, and it gives you a time to come back. And I actually think that this is effective. I do like the virtual queue over at Universal. I wish that it was more than 2 attractions, and I wish that the attractions were better rides than Jimmy Fallon and Fast and Furious, ones that actually had long wait times. And then that's what they were planning on doing with Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure. I was there very first day when Hagrid's opened, and I talked to a whole bunch of team members, and they said that the day after that it opened, they would be implementing virtual queue. That's what I actually think they should have done on the first day and every day after that. But as you guys know, they never implemented the virtual queue, even though they said that they would be doing it starting on the second day. So instead of some people having to wait 10 hours to ride Hagrid's, some people really waited 10 hours to ride that one ride in line. They could have done a virtual queue where other people could have got on the queue on the phone, gone other places in the park, spent money on shopping, dining, rode other rides, and done other things. But instead they were there stuck in line, basically to open to close. They couldn't do anything else. And then fast forward a couple months to when Star Wars Galaxy's Edge opened over here in Orlando, and they were anticipating some pretty big crowds for the opening of Galaxy's Edge in Orlando because they implemented a boarding group system. So basically, if you wanted to get into Galaxy's Edge, you were assigned a group number on the My Disney Experience app. And whenever that group number was called, then you and the rest of your group was allowed to enter into the land. And once you're in there, you're in there. You don't have a certain set amount of time that you can stay in there until you had to come out. But they only used the boarding group system to get into the land on the very first day. I think they might have used it for Christmas Day as well, but I'm not 100% sure. I know for sure they only used it that very first day. And then came along the new ride, Rise of the Resistance, where they once again implemented the boarding group system for the ride. And people basically had to get to Hollywood Studios as soon as it opened. And then once the park opened at 9 o'clock or whenever the certain time was, they had to get on My Disney Experience, go to the boarding group section, click get a boarding pass, and once they had that number, they basically just waited until their number was ready to be called, and they could check that on the app. And the reason that they did the boarding group for Rise of the Resistance, because if they didn't do it, it would be wait times of basically all day long. It would be just like Hagrid's, 10-hour waits, and Disney didn't want to have a big old line inside their park. So that is basically the only way that they can combat that. And then after the parks closed due to coronavirus, some people noticed that on the My Disney Experience app, instead of having it just the boarding group for Rise of the Resistance, that page that was there, now it turned into a My Virtual Queues page. So some people were suggesting that that could mean that more virtual queues could be coming to the theme parks. So what does this mean? I don't think it's gonna happen for every single attraction at Disney World. I think it's gonna happen for some of the bigger attractions, very popular attractions. Avatar, Flight of Passage, Space Mountain, things like that. I think that this is something that could very well be happening when the parks reopen, because we still need to practice like some social distancing. We can't just be all together like that. So I think this is one of the ways that can happen. Control the amount of people that are in the lines at a time by doing these boarding groups, by doing these virtual queues. So my guessing on how this would work, this is just my guess. Of course, none of this is confirmed at all. Who knows if this will even happen? But my guess is that when you get to the park, whatever park you're at, you'll be able to get one of these virtual queues. For example, they'll give you an hour window between 12 and 1. So you come back anytime in between that time window. Plus, I think they'll still allow you to have your 3 fast passes. I don't think that'll affect anything. But if they do these virtual queues, I'm pretty sure, I'm almost 100% sure they won't allow you to have more than one virtual queue, because that basically means you're in line for more than one ride at a time, which really isn't fair, and which really will bump up the wait times. And it'll be pretty simple. I'm pretty sure it'll be very simple. You just need to download the My Disney Experience app, and that's where they'll have all the virtual queue, all of the selections of the attractions that are offering it. Then you just click it and it'll give you a time to come back. That's how I'm thinking that it will work, and that's how I'm thinking that if it is implemented, that's how it should work. And this goes for both Universal and Disney. I think that they both could implement this system. Honestly, I think that this is a good idea to have these virtual queues, because like I said, we'll still need to be practicing social distancing. They can control how many people are in the line at a time, and plus, while people aren't in the line just standing there waiting for the ride, they can be doing other things like buying food, buying merchandise, going to do some other stuff. And this is just my opinion. I believe that virtual queues will be a very big thing in the future for theme parks, not just after the parks reopen for a while. I think it's going to be a new thing that we start to see with the virtual queues. I think it could get some time to getting used to, especially for maybe some older people who aren't very tech savvy on their phones and stuff. But it'll be very simple, just like how once you know how to do a fast pass, it's very simple how to do that. And I feel like it'll be the same exact thing, probably easier for the virtual queue. And it'll free up a lot of your time. Instead of just waiting there in line, it'll free up a lot of your time to go buy stuff, to go do other things, see other things. I feel like a lot of people, the reason they get mad at the theme parks is because they waited a very long time in line. And with the virtual queue, you can kind of almost eliminate that. You're still going to be waiting in line after the virtual queue. There's going to be a little bit of a line, but it's not going to be like you're waiting there for an hour plus. But who knows? This is really just my opinion. Nothing is confirmed, of course. Nothing has been said. It's just my opinion, what I think could happen, what I think it could look like. And I think it's a good idea for the parks to do this. But I don't know, man. Who knows? Maybe this will happen, maybe it won't happen. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like the virtual queue idea? Do you like any of these ideas? Let me know what you think in the comments, or message me on my Instagram or Twitter at MarcusQYT. But thank you all for just watching this little opinion piece, kind of what I think may happen in the future. Who knows? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Virtual queues, I think that they could be a good idea. I'm just ready for the parks to reopen, honestly. It's gonna be such an exciting time when the parks reopen. But yeah, I'll be back with another video pretty soon. Thank you all very much for watching. It's kind of fun to do the impossible, and I'll catch you on the next one. Here's a wild Florida gator for any of you that have never seen one. Just come to any body of water in Florida, pretty much, you're gonna see one of these guys.